All right, this is session 16 or 15B. Probably going to run out of numbers here. So we were in Matthew 24, and he's jumping to the end now in verse 29. He's jumping to the end of the tribulation, the end of the 3.5 years. Now, we probably ought to spend a little bit more time. I've got 3 videos I've done already about this beast government and how he's going to try to tread down the saints and all the rest of it. We read up above about how that many are going to be offended and shall betray one another. So as you start keeping all of these laws, and that's the real challenge here. It's not to run from this beast and everything. If you start keeping these laws, he'll help you and connect you to the right people at the right time. But you got to start keeping all these laws. The Sabbath and Passover, kill a lamb like he tells you. Try to do everything he tells you. Start wearing those tassels. You know, when you read it, it says wear those fringes on your garments to remind you, go out and buy some. That's what I did. Go on down to Joann Fabrics, buy some little tassels and put some blue in it and stick them on yourself. What are you waiting for? That's what I started asking myself. What am I waiting for to keep these commandments? Some preacher to guide me and tell me the whole way? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You're not going to have someone step you the whole way. You gotta do it yourself. You gotta read it and do. Read and do. Once you start reading and doing, start obeying these laws, he'll open your eyes to more of this. Especially the weird ones. The ones you think are weird, yeah, you need to start doing them. Yeah. Going on here. Matthew 24:24. The false Christ and false prophet. We have tons of this already. Boy, there's tons of people. There's some people that are wrong. I've been in error in the past, and they're wrong. They're just deceived or in error. And then there's Then there's a lot of people that I don't know. They read it, and the preachers, and they can read things like keep the Sabbath day, and they'll tell you no, we want to keep Sunday, and that for some reason that's been done away with or something. We want to keep Easter instead of Passover. There are some that are just they're I guess they're willingly deceived or willingly ignorant, and I guess discerning between the two, you've just got to keep your eyes focused on the Scripture and do what it tells you. Keep all the laws. He says they weren't done away with. Well, this is at the end of the tribulation. He tells you the sign here. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather his elect together from the 4 winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Now this is interesting, because he says this, you're going to see the sign of the Son of Man. We covered that previously. In fact, the previous slide, the first slide here, shows that sign. That's from Revelation 12:1, I think. It says the sign of the Son of Man, and at the sign of his coming is the woman clothed with the sun and the crown of 12 stars, and the moon under her feet, and giving birth. Well, I've covered this a couple times, so I'll keep it real short. On trumpets of 2017, the constellation Virgo, which normally has Leo the Lion as the crown, has 3 planets that move into that constellation, and she has a crown of 12 stars. The sun is at her shoulder. She's clothed with the sun in the morning there. And the moon is under her feet, and she gives birth to the planet Jupiter, comes from between her legs in the constellation, the king planet. And that doesn't line up on any other years. I've looked backward and forward a good number of years. It does not line up like that. It's a fascinating sign that is in the heavens. And I think it's telling us that he's going to return on trumpets of 2017. That's how we calculate this. Well, Matthew says the same thing here. And, of course, this sun's going to be darkened. There's a total eclipse of the sun 1 month earlier. 2 weeks before that, the moon has an eclipse as well. So those 2 signs show up. And then he sends his angels, he says here, at the sound of the trumpet. That sounds like it would be on the Feast of Trumpets. And shall gather together his elect from the 4 winds, from one end of heaven unto the other. Now, why is he not gathering them together from America, Great Britain, and Israel, from where the tribes are, and from many other places? You would think that there'd be something like that, but no, that's because they're scattered. That's because at this time We're past. We're at the end of the tribulation, and they've been scattered for 3.5 years now. America already got nuked. Babylon already got nuked and is gone. And his people have scattered into the nations, and that's why they have to be collected from the four winds. You need to disperse like the four winds, and boy, you better get busy about it. If you're one of these keeping these commandments, you're kind of behind the eight ball. You know this thing's going to torch off here in just 9 months or something. Next March 22nd of 2014, he's going to get control. Sounds like to me, and tread us down for 3.5 years. So it's going to start real soon. And at the end of it, he's going to collect you up. And you don't have to worry about him missing you. I suppose they're probably after 3.5 years are going to start sweating and thinking, man, this is really bad. And there's a lot of people getting killed. But I think he's telling us this so we don't have any fear. Or we can know what's coming and subside our fear. So it's going to be quite astonishing, all these events. And going on to 32, now learn the parable of the fig tree. We covered this. This is he goes on about this parable. And this is the fig tree nation. We covered this. It started in 1947 at the decree. 70 years is a generation. It says this generation in verse 34 shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. He's talking about the fig tree generation. Fig tree nation is Israel. And there's a lot of talk about fig trees. You'll notice that he's walking along with his disciples, and the fig tree doesn't bear fruit, and he kills it, and it withers right away. And, it's not that he's got something against fig trees. It's a parable. He's trying to show you this. It's from another part in the book of Matthew, I think. Verse 35, heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. But of that day and the hour knows no man, not the angels in heaven, but my Father only. It's talking about the time when heaven and earth pass away. And people don't have eyes to see, they'll read this and go, see, nobody can know. So if that's your take on it, then that's your take on it. But he's telling you these things for a reason. You got to start keeping these laws so you can take those blinders off. Verse 37, but as the days of Noah were, so shall be the coming of the Son of Man. For as in the days of Noah or before the flood, they'll be eating and drinking, marrying, giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark. So it sounds like there's people going to be using that mark, and they're going to be using this new whatever it is, SDR drawing rights or whatever, and the dollar's going to be gone. They'll be happy as clams at high tide, being slaves to the beast government, doing whatever they tell them, bowing down to it, and not keeping these laws. And, of course, there'll be a lot dying off in biblical proportions here and there. And they'll probably just be scratching their head at that, saying, wow, isn't that unfortunate that bunch of people got wiped out by famine or by plague or pestilence. But the ones that are left are still going to be given in marriage and marrying and drinking and eating and doing all the things they're doing right up until the time that he returns. And that's what he says here, until the coming of the Son of Man. Then shall be two in the field, one taken, the other left. 2 women shall be grinding at the mill, one taken and one left. Now, the ones that are taken are burned up. The ones that are left go into the kingdom. Watch you, therefore, and know you what hour the Lord cometh. You can verify that in that parable of the tares. The weeds are gathered out at the end and burned up. Then the seed goes into the kingdom. The very fine Ophir gold. The people that keep all of these laws and obey Him, follow His commandments. Verse 43, but know this, that if the good man of the house had known the watch that the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore also be ready, for in such an hour you think not the Son of Man comes. So we need to be ready all the time. And people have a misconception about this day. And Joel chapter 2 talks about what this day is going to be like. And he says, blow you the trumpet. I think this is at the fulfillment of trumpets on 2017. Blow you the trumpet in Zion, Joel 2, verse 1. Sound an alarm, my holy mountain. Let the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahuwah comes and is nigh at hand. Now, like yours probably says the day of the Lord, and you think it's the day of Jesus, if you're Christian. And because they've got you so confused, replacing His name with Lord, which is bad. You need to start sifting that out. Going on, Joel 2:2, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, a day of, as the morning spreads upon the mountain, a great people of strong, there has never been the like, and neither shall there be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. Fire devours before them, and behind them a flame burns. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as horses and horsemen, the noise like chariots. Before their face the people shall be much pained, and the faces shall gather blackness. Verse 7, they shall run like mighty men, they shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march every one on his way, and they shall not break their ranks. Neither shall one thrust another, and they shall walk every one in his path, and when they shall fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. These are angel-like beings, is what he's talking about here. And they shall run to and fro in the city, and shall run upon the wall, and they shall climb upon the house, shall enter in at the window like a thief. They're going to sneak in and kill people like a thief through your window. Angels. Angels. This is a terrible time. The earth shall, it's just a time that, it's a scary time for people that are not keeping these laws. If you're not obedient, and angels are coming in your window to kill you. The earth shall quake before them, heaven shall tremble, the sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining, and Yahuwah shall utter his voice in his army, for his camp is very great. For he is strong that executes his word, and the day of Yahuwah is great and very terrible, and who can abide it? This is what's coming. Not rapture, not wafting off on a Winnebago bus in the clouds. That, your preacher's been telling you stories. They don't want to tell you this because it scares everybody. It scares them out, and they won't get paid. You need to read the rest of this and consider this. This is what's coming, a day of darkness. This is a terrifying day. Yeah, that's what it says in Amos as well, and a couple other places. Oh, we're 11 minutes in. That's Mathew and Joel. I'd read the rest of that Joel if you want to get a taste of what's coming. What's coming in 2017 on trumpets. Hallelujah.